What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including devastating news for AEW, the real reason why 2 WWE stars were written off television, fan concern about Jim Ross's health, are the Bloodline OG reuniting, WWE's latest release, how does WWE feel about Jacob Fatu, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. As always, we won't recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Jeff Jarrett still has it. Bringing veteran wrestlers into a promotion can lead to serious blowback, both from fans and wrestlers who question why a legacy performer is getting TV time instead of younger talent. However, Jeff Jarrett's match with Bryan Danielson was another sign of how the King of the Mountain can still go in the ring, whether it's in tag team matches or here, single showcase bouts. Jarrett has much to offer as AEW's elder statesman, and he's been generous with putting talent over. Hopefully last night's performance silences the critics. Number 2, Mariah May vs Toni Storm keeps getting better. Mariah May and Toni Storm have been one of the few bright spots in AEW. Their battle over being Queen Bee has led to some of the most entertaining segments on AEW and providing some sports entertainment style fun. Incredibly, the feud seems to have reinvigorated Toni Storm's timeless gimmick, which seemed to be floundering. Number 3, a superb squash. Camille's handicap match showed how squash matches can actually be used to build up new talent. The former NWA Women's Champion woman-handled her opposition, and while fans want to see what she can do against marquee opponents, this was a good way to show why she's different than many of AEW's other women wrestlers. Number 4, MJF vs Fletcher banger. AEW has so many fantastic undercard talents as seen by Kyle Fletcher's match against MJF. Although this match was largely about building up MJF vs Will Ospreay, it reminded fans just how good Fletcher is in the ring and that he may be moving up the ranks soon. And Swerve Strickland interview. Swerve Strickland is making it clear he respects Bryan Danielson, but he's also reminding everyone he's defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against a broken down American Dragon, and that there will be no mercy at All In. AEW has built up this narrative well, and it hopefully will lead to a strong babyface versus babyface bout at Wembley. But that was good. What about the bad? Is number 1, a mid-episode. Dynamite is back to running lukewarm episodes, another sign of AEW's inconsistency at booking. It's also a reminder that AEW doesn't understand a fundamental of wrestling, that is, to make every show stand out in a good way, that is, and leaving fans wanting more. Last night's Dynamite would have ended up downright ugly if it hadn't been for the quality of the matches. Number 2, AEW's random trios. Could AEW have found a more random pairing than Orange Cassidy and FTR? Cassidy is a type of wrestler who excels as a comedy character, but whose comedic nature means he shouldn't be working with certain wrestlers. Such was the case when AEW decided to team him up with FTR, a tag team that has always been all business. Freshly squeezed working with Dax and Cash was a clash of styles that turned what could have been an exciting trios match into a sideshow attraction. Number 3, very predictable show. The Dynamite was predictable and not in a good way. Unlike SummerSlam, which also was incredibly predictable, AEW failed to entertain the fans with spots they knew were coming. Whether it was MJF brutalizing Will Ospreay's friend Kyle Fletcher, Hook returning just in time to set up a match against Chris Jericho, there was nothing novel about these spots that made them seem special. That was the good, the bad, or what about the downright ugly? Cut off by a Taco Bell advert. Is there anything AEW can do right sometimes? Well, fans have to ask this after Jack Perry's hype video was cut off midstream by a Taco Bell commercial. This epic fail symbolizes AEW's struggles at appearing like legitimate competition to the WWE. What did you guys think of Dynamite last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at devastating news for AEW. Atop of today's news is some potentially devastating news for AEW, as just when AEW fans think things just can't get any worse, its TV rights partner Warner Bros. Discovery posted abysmal financial numbers. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday that Warner Bros. Discovery WBD 1.85% increase, Green Up Pointing Triangle posted a nearly $10 billion quarterly loss, mostly due to a written down of the value of its cable networks. A stunning acknowledgement of how the television industry has deteriorated since the blockbuster deal that created the conglomerate 2 years ago. The report outlined the difficulties WBD has faced, resulting in terrible numbers. The $9.1 billion non-cash impairment comes as the cable networks of Warner Bros. Discovery, including CNN, TNT, and TBS, have been hammered by cord-cutting, declining ratings, and a weak advertising market. As you might imagine, this is potentially devastating news for AEW, as WBD may not feel it can justify paying AEW anything more than it already does for the rights to AEW programming. Rumor has it that AEW management was counting on an increase in TV rights fees in order to become profitable. WBD's big loss comes after rumors that they may be changing up its management to try and stabilize things and begin to turn a profit. If this happens, there's no telling how new executives will feel about them carrying wrestling on its stations. This wouldn't be the first time something similar happened. You may also recall that WCW was dropped in 2001 after AOL Time Warner executive Jamie Kellner decided that wrestling wasn't the right fit for his vision of programming. While AEW will likely be able to find a home for its TV content, it's unknown whether it can find an outlet as large as TBS and TNT and, more importantly, get as much money. Next up, the real reason why 2 stars were written off WWE television. If you're wondering why Seth Rollins and Dakota Kai took a beating on the 5th August Raw, well, a new report from Wrestling Observer Radio states that WWE wrote both superstars off TV to give them time to deal with nagging injuries. Dave Meltzer noted, "I don't know how serious. All I heard, I asked if those were storyline covers for injuries, and I was told they both were. But Seth is not as bad a situation, like Seth is cleared, he could wrestle, but he's banged up, and so it was a good time for him to take time off and do this. So I don't know if he'll be back for the pay-per-view against Bronson Reed. Obviously, he's going to wrestle Bronson Reed." The Seth Rollins situation is somewhat concerning if you remember that Rollins had knee surgery last April and took time off to recover. The knee surgery followed stories of Seth dealing with back problems for some time and the question of whether he needed to take time off to rehab his back or even undergo surgery. If Meltzer's report is accurate, the WWE needs to take a good look at Rollins' physical condition and determine whether he needs an extended period of time off TV to deal with his injuries. Otherwise, a premature return could lead to a serious injury if he's trying to work through one or more injuries. The situation with Dakota Kai is also concerning because Dakota also recently returned from a knee injury. Naturally, some fans will question whether the WWE rushed Dakota's return. There may also be questions of whether she's injury prone, working to a strenuous style, or just plain unlucky. Next up, how does WWE really feel about Jacob Fatu? What does the WWE think about Jacob Fatu's work now that he's been working on TV and PLEs for a bit? PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting that WWE is thrilled with Fatu's performance, including the true element of danger surrounding him. Fatu has been pushed as a monster and he looks intimidating, and there's no telling how far he'll go if he can continue performing at a high level and fans get behind him, whether to boo him or cheer him. Next up, fan concern about Jim Ross's health. Some wrestling fans are concerned about Jim Ross's health after JR's sit-down interview with Swerve Strickland on Dynamite. The WWE Hall of Famer and the man many fans consider the greatest wrestling announcer of all time looked unfortunately frail and appears to have lost a lot of weight. Jim Ross has battled serious health problems throughout his life, including Bell's palsy and a more recent battle with cancer. In addition, JR has also had hip replacement surgery. Nonetheless, the 72-year-old living legend's willingness to continue participating in pro wrestling, even at a limited schedule, is very commendable, and it's unlikely the man under the black hat would continue working if he felt he had nothing to contribute and that he was living off his reputation. Next up, WWE Interested in AEW Star. Could longtime AEW star Ricky Starks be preparing for a trip to the WWE? PW Insider's Mike Johnson recently noted that WWE is looking to sign Starks and other AEW talents whose contracts will end. Unfortunately, it's unclear when Starks' AEW deal will expire. Starks has been missing in action from AEW programming for a while, leading to questions about why such a talented performer hasn't been used. Meltzer recently remarked, "They wanted him to turn babyface. He didn't want to turn babyface. They're not using him. I think there's a lot of people who think he's headed to WWE because of Cody and they're not investing in him right now. I think that's basically the mindset. We'll see what happens." Some fans and industry observers believe Starks is eager to join his friend Cody Rhodes in WWE. What do you guys think? Would he be a good fit for WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Bloodline OG Reuniting. Is Jey Uso ready to rejoin his cousin Roman Reigns? As ex-user Navtrix recently tweeted, Jey Uso just posted beginning of the original Bloodline post on his IG story, "It's happening." Some fans believe that Jey and Jimmy Uso will reunite with Roman to take on Solo Sikoa's version of the Bloodline, leading to a War Games match at Survivor Series. And finally, the WWE's latest release. Last but not least, the WWE has parted ways with another executive. PW Insider reports that Vice President of Talent Relations Kristen Altman was let go for reasons unknown. Wrestling News provided some background on Altman's work in WWE. Altman first started working for the company in 2007 as a receptionist. The following year, she moved into talent relations. Her LinkedIn profile noted her recent title with the company, which was Vice President Talent Relations Operations. The WWE has now released many wrestlers, executives, and other workers following its merger with Endeavor. There's no word on whether this position is being merged, eliminated, or someone else will take over. But there you have it, folks, our look at Dynamite as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.